like Carl Jung talked about, retrogressions is going to be the most sustainable and the most cost-effective way to be healthier, to be more mindful, to be all things. When we seek out new advanced technology, typically it's more expensive and more short-lived.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I was in San Diego like 2 months ago, and these biohacking clinics are becoming more common. They pop up, and people put the cryotherapy and the sauna and the PEMF and all the fancy technologies, the negative ion structured water that you breathe. And I was in San Diego, and this company reached out to me on Instagram, and they're like, why don't you come over to our clinic this morning, and you can do the pulsed electromagnetic field therapy, and get the Schumann resonance from the earth, and do the cryo, do the infrared, and maybe we can get you in for a Juve session where you're under the lights. And I'm reading this, and I'm like, 4 blocks from the beach.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm like, actually, I'm going to walk in my bare feet to the beach under the sunlight, jump in the cold water, chock full of negative ions and minerals, get out and walk back to my little condo I was staying in, and get all that for free in a far more natural way. Not that biohacking technology should be dismissed, but those should be stacked on top of the natural living, or used when you don't have access to that stuff. Like whatever, you're in Las Vegas, you're going to be there for 3 days at a conference. Go there with your grounding and earthing mat that you can sleep on, and maybe a portable infrared light panel, and maybe a little portable PEMF unit, and use biohacking to simulate nature in an environment where you're not going to get exposed to much nature. But when you get a chance to choose between nature or biohacking, I mean, nature is always usually a more prudent choice.
Well, I think it's the difference between a supplement and a whole food. When you're biohacking some aspect of nature into some technology, it's like taking like pectin out of an apple, or carotene, or it's like
lycopene from a tomato.
Yeah. What we miss with that is the equation that you jump your biology into when you jump into the ocean is so much more complex than most of the specific isolates that we take out from that and plug into a wall.
It's the entourage effect, and
exactly.
Of course that's most well known in the world of cannabis, right? We know that all the constituents of the hemp plant put together are more beneficial than like a synthetic CBD extract that you might take to help you sleep. The exception to that, though, would be when you do want the bullet train. I guess I am going to just like start shamelessly plugging, but like if you look at something like the Juve light, right? Like these infrared light panels that you can spend 10 minutes in front of and get the equivalent of the infrared light that you would need to be out in the sun for 2 hours to get, right? And maybe risk excess UVA radiation from the sun trying to get that big of a dose of infrared all at once. Well, arguably, the biohacking technology actually is a hack. You're shortcutting your way to getting even more infrared than you might normally be able to get. The same could be said of like the big, powerful, high milligauss potential PEMF tables, right? The ones that produce a very high amount of that frequency, like 7.8 hertz, that you'd get from the planet Earth, but that just concentrates it in a very high dose, so you're almost amplifying the anti-inflammatory effects of earthing or grounding, but in a faster manner, right? So I have nothing against better living through science about using even more powerful versions of what we might be able to get from nature, but returning to that whole entourage effect, the idea of it being free, the idea of being more connected to the planet that we live upon, I still think that too many people put too much time into the biohacking technologies and not enough time into the nature technologies.
Yeah.